坐在火箭顶端，引擎一点火，简直像地底下发生大地震，然后进入太空看到地球，哇，那个景色美到。有个专有名词叫中观效应，真的是一种认知的巨大转变。
3, 2, 1, ignition and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go NASA Crew 10.
Yeah, that's Elon Musk's SpaceX crew now headed to the International Space Station to relieve stranded astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams and begin the process of returning them back to home. Here to discuss is Polaris Dawn pilot and retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Scott Kid Poteet.
Dawn.
Colonel, thanks for joining us. It's such an exciting night last night to watch that rocket take off. First of all, just tell us what goes through someone's mind sitting on top of a rocket. Is there a point where you're like, okay, we're safe?
Absolutely. Good morning, Joe. It's a pleasure to be with you. You know, it's an unwavering level of trust to strap yourself to a rocket. That rocket there produces 1.7 million pounds of thrust. That's
wow.
For me, it's, you know, I flew the F-16 for 20 years in the Air Force. That's 70 F-16s. And when those engines kick off, man. It's an absolute earthquake underneath you, and it's a wild, wild ride for a good solid minutes to get to space.
Wild ride.
So once that rocket kind of breaks off and you're going through space, to use very untechnical terms, because I've not done this on purpose anyway. Once that happens, can you take a breath at that moment? Is that a moment where you can kind of say, okay, things are in a good spot?
Yeah, you know, you're going through the procedures many hours leading up to the launch itself. And then once you're in the launch phase, it's...
Launch phase.
You know, it's very similar to like a combat mission where you're compartmentalizing everything that's going on. Yeah. And you're so focused on the task at hand. Once you get to orbit, you know, there's this transition that happens. It's physiological because you're trying to get used to the microgravity.
Physiological.
It's a very austere environment trying to live in space. So you got to go through that transition. And once you get the views of Earth, you know, it's called the overview effect.
Overview.
It's a cognitive shift that happens. And
Cognitive.
It's an absolute beautiful view of this planet. Radiant light, and hopefully you get a couple minutes to experience that.
Radiant.
But there's always a mission at hand, and that's what they're focused in on right now is docking with the ISS.
Docking.
Tell us about that mission. I mean, that's what everyone's focused on. This is a crew going up to relieve those that have been up there for a really long time.
Really long time.
But it's not like you take off on a rocket, you're going really fast.
Really fast.
But now it's going to be almost a full day before they get there and dock and go through that protocol. Tell us about that mission and that aspect of kind of patience.
Well, their mission is different from what I experienced. Polaris Dawn, we were 5-day low Earth orbit doing science and research, doing the first commercial spacewalk. But this mission is a routine. You know, I can't believe I'm saying that that it's a routine mission to space, taking astronauts to and from the space station. They'll be up there. That Crew 10 will be up there for 6 months doing science and research, testing technology. Doing absolute wonderful things for, you know, planet Earth back here on Earth. And then we'll bring home Crew 9. It's time to bring them home.
Bring them home.
They've done some wonderful things. It's a demonstration of the resilience of Butch and Sonny to endure the 9 months they've been up there. But, you know, that's why they're professionals. It's the sacrifice they were willing to make. It's just like serving your country.
Serving your country.
That's exactly what they're doing, and they should be applauded for their efforts.
Yeah, that's a long time to be up there, 8 months in space. When they get back, what's life like those first few days and weeks?
You know, my trip was 5 days, and it was a tough adaptation back to, you know, 1G. That's what's amazing about the human body is it does adapt. It's challenging when you first experience microgravity and the disorientation, space adaptation syndrome, but once you get back, you got to get used to 1G again. So it takes, they're both athletes, you know, Sonny run marathon up in space back in 2007. So they stay active. They try to stay fit, but it's going to take some time, especially after 9 months in space, to adapt back to this environment.
Yeah, more than anything else, I'd say their mind is just so resilient. We should probably study that, because if you stuck me anywhere for that long a time, I didn't stay in Afghanistan that long. So, but Colonel, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for bringing some insight. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely, brother.
Absolutely, brother.
Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
Dawn.
这里的 Dawn 是 Polaris Dawn 这个词的一部分。Polaris Dawn 是一个太空任务的名称，所以 Dawn 在这里指的就是这个任务名称的一部分，就叫做曙光或是黎明的意思，听起来蛮有希望的感觉。
Kick off, man.
Kick off 是启动、开始的意思，这边指引擎发动 ，man 就是老兄、兄弟，比较随意的称呼，像朋友间讲话那样，对，就比较口语化，轻松的感觉。
Wild ride.
狂野的旅程就像坐云霄飞车一样，形容过程非常刺激、惊险、充满挑战，让人既兴奋又有点紧张，表示这个太空飞行过程一定很刺激。
Launch phase.
就係講緊火箭升空個階段，就是最刺激、最關鍵。開始後
Physiological.
physiological 這個字，它指的是跟身體機能有關的，像這邊說生理上的，意思就是身體會因為要適應太空的微重力而產生一些生理反應，所以才說是生理上的。
Overview.
這裡的 overall effect 指的是從太空俯瞰地球時產生的一種認知轉變，一種看待事物的新角度和更宏觀的視野，不只是字面上的概觀或總覽而已。
Cognitive.
Say cognitive shift 指的是認知轉變，就是你的想法、觀念、意識產生了變化。在這邊的語境下，是指太空人從太空看地球後，心態上會產生一種不一樣的轉變。
Radiant.
Radiant light 就是指燦爛的光芒，形容從太空看到的地球被陽光照耀，非常美麗、光彩奪目的樣子。這裡用 radiant 來形容光，更強調那種耀眼、明亮，甚至帶有正面能量的感覺，不只是普通的光線而已。
Docking.
Docking with the ISS 指的是與國際太空站對接。Docking 就是太空船或太空艙跟另一個太空站或太空船結合連接的動作。在這邊是指太空，人們現在最專注的任務就是要讓他們的太空船順利跟國際太空站連在一起。
Really long time.
就是指時間非常久，你知道的，很久很久的那種感覺。
Really fast.
就是速度超級快的意思，咻一下就過去了。那種
Bring them home.
意思就是把太空人從太空平安接回來地球，讓人感覺很期待他們安全回家，也表示任務快結束了，準備迎接英雄們歸來了。
Serving your country.
意思就是為國家服務，就像當兵一樣，帶有榮譽感，感覺是很正式、很愛國的那種說法。就這樣。
Absolutely, brother.
Absolutely 表示完全同意或肯定。對 brother 在這裡是一種口語化的稱呼，表示親切和友好，常見於男性之間的對話，整體表達一種肯定和友好的回應。就這樣。
Here to discuss is Polaris Dawn pilot and retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Scott Kidd Poteet. Colonel,
And when those engines kick off, man, it's a wild ride for a good solid minutes to get to space.
so what's that?
And then once you're in the launch phase, it's physiological because you're trying to get used to the microgravity. It's called the overview effect. It's a cognitive shift that happens, and it's radiant light, and hopefully you get a couple minutes to experience that. And that's what they're focused in on right now is docking with the ISS.
Tell us, is a crew going up to relieve those that have been up there for a really long time, but it's not going really fast. But now it's going to be.
It's time to bring them home. They've done some just like serving your country.
That is
absolutely, brother. Appreciate it.